Hello everyone, welcome to my corner of the world and welcome to Sunday Live. So just checking that everything is working okay today. And I think we're all in the right orientation. Everything seems to be live. Goodness, okay. Right, so we're like October the 8th today. Amazingly, we're just about to start the second week of October already. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I shared with you some of the lovely specialty papers in the catalogue, the mini catalogue that we have live at the moment. And this is the third of the papers. I promised I would work through those papers to give you some ideas of how to use them. And this was the Christmas one that we did 2 weeks ago. And I used two different patterns of those papers. Oh, looks like my bow has disappeared behind the message there. So that was the first one that we did, and then last week I shared with you the second lot of papers. That's this lovely foiled paper here. And we made a guy type card. So that was our second paper. And then our third paper that I'm going to work with today is this one. And again, it's foil. And we've got three different designs there. And it's single-sided, so you don't have to grieve over losing a pretty picture. And the colours, I believe, are, well, it says Lost Lagoon. It says Lost Lagoon. Well, this is definitely Lost Lagoon there, but this looks a bit like sort of Bermuda Bay, which has since retired, but maybe it's Coastal Cabana, maybe. Anyway. So those are the colours that we've got, and then obviously the white and the silver sort of splodges. I'm not quite sure how else to describe that. So that's the paper that we're going to focus everything around today. And I pulled out some accessories, some ribbon, and these are gorgeous. These are faceted gems. And there's like, if you can just see, there's sort of a grey, silvery grey, a bright silver. And then I'm thinking this must be Lost Lagoon again, or Pool Party, or Coastal Cabana. But either way, they go beautifully with the paper. And then I have this stamp set, Sparkling Snowflakes, because I've got snowflakes in my paper. And then I've got this punch, which is a tag topper punch that cuts out a beautiful snowflake. So you can find these in the mini catalogue. So the ribbon and the paper and the embellishments are in one suite. I've got this paper, but I didn't get this stamp set or dies. But here is this bundle. So basically I'm using this bundle, this stamp set with the coordinating punch, and then I've cherry picked some of the pieces from this other bundle here, which is called Winter Meadow. So that's my sort of starting point. Now the first thing I've got to decide is colours. So let's just move some stuff out the way. Now, I don't know which of these papers I want to use. So we'll get one of each out. There we go. And we'll see where that takes us. Now, if you're joining me live, maybe you'll go ahead and put a little comment in the live chat box on the right hand side there. I'd certainly love to know that you're out there watching. Excuse me. So this is our first choice. Now, the easiest one, of course, is to go with this white, because practically anything would go with that. But I'm trying to resist going with the white at this time. And if you've got any... Oh, hello, Janie. Nice to hear from you. So if you have any thoughts on which of these papers we should use, I'm going to go and put some colours next to them to see what we should go with. So that is Coastal Cabana. And then I've got Pool Party. And then I've got Smoky Slate. And then I went really crazy. Really crazy. And I pulled out Parakeet Party. Now, a few years ago, Stampin' Up! Did the most beautiful paper. It was like a Christmas paper, but it was like non-traditional colours, real contemporary colours. And it had Lost Lagoon, Smoky Slate, and then Pear Pizzazz, which is now retired. But it was going through my mind that maybe I could sort of recreate that, which is why I went and pulled out this Parakeet Party. It's a lot brighter than the old Pear Pizzazz, but I wondered if it might give a bit of a kick. So I can see you're out there, Janie. Maybe you'd like to make a vote. It does take a moment or two for it to come through on my screen. So I suppose I could go with Lost Lagoon cardstock, but I want to steer clear of Lost Lagoon because it is one of my favourites, and I'm thinking I ought really to work with some different combinations. So I'm quite taken by this paper because it's got a nice bright colour, but I'm thinking if I use this paper on screen, it's gonna dazzle and maybe blind both of us, all of us. So I'm going to pop that one aside for one minute. As I said, I wanted to steer clear of using the silver and white because the silver and white is kind of an easy, anything will go with it. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute, but I might come back on it. So then I've got this one, and I do like this one in as much as it's kind of got matte. It's also got here like a subtle sheen in there, and then it's got the brightness. And I think it would go really, really well with this particular stamp set. All right, now, as much as I'd love for this to work, this is not sitting well with me. It's not quite the right green, so I need to put it away and think of something else. So that leaves me with these colours. Now, I'm going to make a card that could be used for Christmas, but let's face it, not everybody celebrates Christmas as such. Maybe they don't like to, maybe it's not within their particular faith. but we might like to send them a card around that time of year just to let them know we are thinking of them. And so I wanted to make this as sort of an end of year type card, winter card. And so I'm going to be using one of these greetings. If you follow me, you know I do love a stamp set that has both images as well as words. And the fact that these words are in a lovely script make me love it even more. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to go with this. So it's just a case of deciding which of these. Well, I suppose if I have, let's see, if I could always put a layer, like maybe I could layer it like that. If you've any thoughts out there, Janie, go ahead, share with me. I'd love your input. Maybe, is this too bright, this Coastal Cabana? Maybe it is. Okay, so with my lives, I like to start with an idea and then work my way through alongside of you. Oh, something just fell on the floor. So that's why I'm asking for your input, and you can help me to design this project that we're going to work on today. Okay, so I'm thinking that I will go with these. And so whether do I put this combination, maybe that would work a little bit better. Maybe. Okay. Okay. Right. I am going to go for this as my base, and then I'm going to have layers with the pool party. That's what we're going to go with. And just to ring the changes, I thought that I would make a slimline card. So where's my trimmer? There it is. Now, the cardstock here in the States is 11 inches by 8.5. And to be honest with you, to create a slimline card with 11 inches, if you divide 11 inches by 3, you get some weird number. But if you cut a ½ an inch off, like this, it means that you can then cut and you can score. And I'm going to make a 3-paneled card. I can then score at 3.5 and then 7. And if my math hasn't let me down, I should have 3 lovely panels. Let's just keep everything crossed that my math has not let me down. I struggled with math when I was at school, but when I went to university, I minored in it. I was determined I was going to get my head around it. Now, can you see we've got a bit of a bow in there? And so I'm going to trim a tiny little piece off of that one side, because it's just, can you see how much I've literally taken off a tiny whisker And so that will just fall in below or just before my fold, and I don't have that bow anymore. So there's a little tip for you. Right, let's see. Now I can either make a card that's like this, or I could do a little easel card. Does anybody have any votes or thoughts on that? Right, I can still go ahead and do some cutting and get my layers in. So, as I said, this is 8.5, so I want my layers to be 1/8 of an inch border all round. So that means I'm going to cut this at 8 1/4. And then, as I said, this is 3.5, so I need 3 1/4. So let's see what we've got in the way of, let's see, I had this scrap. I did a live using scraps the other day, so no, that's not going to be big enough. So, and I was just going through it. So 3 1/4, I said. I was just going through it earlier today, and I was pretty impressed with what we got. So this is 8.5, so I need 1/4 of an inch off of this piece. So there's not much wastage here. One that's an easel, okay. I will do my best on that one, Janie. So I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch off of here. And so that gives me my layer here. Right, so if we have an easel card, we're going to need a layer in here. So I'm going to do the same combination. So I'm going to do 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. Well, that's an easy measurement to remember. All right. Now we're going to need a panel on there to write our "To You, Love from Me." So again, I'm going to go with the 1/4 inch difference. So this one's going to be 3. So, and then because this one is it 8 1/4, this is going to be 8. Okay, so that's going to be our piece inside, like that. So we build that up like that. And then this is my piece to go on the front. Okay. So what do you think of it so far? Are we getting there? Right. I think it's time for some stamping. We need to put some prettiness on this. I've got this old piece of paper, forgive me, I haven't got a good one here. And we're going to get out this lovely here and see what we've got. So we've got some nice big ones. And we've got some background ones. I wonder if it's worth having an experiment with some background ones. So this is kind of like two-step stamping. Now you can see I've not used these before. So I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning up. And it looks like I'm going to be using some big blocks because I've run out of the other ones. Okay, so when these clear ones are manufactured, I think it gets left with a tiny little bit of manufacturing residue on them. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a clean up. And I like to use my Stampin' Scrub with some, where is it? There it is, with some of my Stampin' Mist. And just give that a bit of a clean. Just seems to just kind of just make them work. Oh, there's the other one. I'd spent yesterday prepping for one of my card events, in-person card events yesterday, and I've used up all my smaller blocks, which wasn't too smart, but hey. So I think what might look good is smoky slate. So if I do the background in smoky slate, and I'm just going to test it out first just to see what I like, if I like it. Oh well, lead me on here. I need to level out my work surface. We didn't get a very good image then. Let's see what we've got this time. I need to clear myself some workspace and I'll stand a better chance of getting this job done. There, that's better. Now, I looked at that and it's quite dark. I'm going to stamp off and then I'm going to stamp onto my card and get a much lighter image. I think that might work better for me. So stamp off and then we'll stamp like that. All right, that gives me that. And I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon for my main snowflake. And I think if I use it full strength, that might give me a nice finish. So with these clear stamps, it's really easy to line up. Oh, that gives a very nice finish. I like that. Okay, let's see. And maybe what we could do is put winter greetings on there as well. Again, I haven't used this one before, so let's just give it a little bit of a clean. And as I always do when I'm stamping greetings, well, as I try to do as much as possible, is put it at an angle. And then I don't have to worry about saying, okay, is that centered? Is it level? It's already supposed to be not level and not centered. All right, so that gives us the inside of the card. because I'm really struggling at the moment to think about what to do on the front of the card. So if I get the inside done, I stand a better chance, or at least give myself a bit more time to think about what we're going to do. All right. So this is going to then go here. Now I like to use liquid glue. Does anybody else have a preference for liquid glue or for using like the tape runners? I find that with liquid glue it gives me a few minutes to kind of just ease things into the right position. All right, so there we have our inside. Now at the moment that's proving to be a little bit difficult to sit down in place, but I think it's because the front of the card hasn't really got anything on it. It's a bit light. I'm hoping that when we get some layers on, it'll work a bit better. Okay, right. Now then, so that's going to be our front layer. That's going to tuck inside like that. And because we trim that tiny little bit off here, it's all sitting beautifully and flat. Okay. All right, so the time has come for me to decide what we're going to do on the very front of this card. Now I've got one layer and I want to be very careful about cutting my paper. Right, because so that is 3 1/4, so I need a 3-inch piece off of here, and that's good because a 3-inch piece means that if I wanted to make more of these cards, I've still got like 3 other lots of 3 on my left of my piece of paper, and I've got, so that needs to be 8. Right, let's see, 8. Right, 8, here we go with an 8. And that leaves me with this nice scrap. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with it. And it might not, I might not even use it on this project. But, right, let's go with this. Right. Now we have some of this really scrumptious ribbon, and I want to use this punch, and and what other greeting have I got on here? I've got for you and let it snow. So Ooh, I've just had a bit of an idea. I've just had a bit of an idea because I've been trying to think, what can I use to hold my card in place, to sort of tuck it behind here. And there's a tiny stamp in here that says "for you," and I'm thinking I could use it here, so it says "winter greetings for you," about there. Right, okay, so there's there's a thought. Now if I use this colour on there, will that get lost? Now this punch, you can have it any length that you like, but it needs to be like 2 inches wide. Your card needs to be that. So, and it needs to be what I like to call a scant 2 inches, which basically means it's slightly under 2 inches. If any of you are quilters, you may be familiar with that term. Right. So let's get some space and see where we are from here. All I do is push this in, press it firmly, and there. Can you see? Isn't that lovely? Got really lovely snowflake effect on the top. Now, so this has got the sort of a sheeny bit here and lots of foil bits there. Well, I'm thinking that this might, if I put it there. Now, do you think that looks a bit lost? Is it looking a bit lost? Thank you, Janie. I'm wondering, because I made a little knot the other day for a project and I didn't like it. And if you saw my live on doing scraps the other day, I don't throw things away. So I was thinking about maybe putting this there and maybe using some ribbon around here to and I don't do anything, I don't cut anything, well, certainly not ribbon or decorative paper until I know what I'm going to do. And then that could go there like that at a jaunty angle. I kind of like the idea of that jaunty angle. I think I need some white. Now here we go. Let's do a little bit of thinking. So this is my active area here is, oh, look at that, 3 1/4. So if I cut a piece of the grey, and the reason I'm thinking about all these layers is I need weight on that front panel to make sure that it stays in place when we hook it up as an easel card, as requested by Jamie. So I said, let me think, was it they say measure twice, cut once? So I need 3 inches. 3 inches by, that's 2, so 1 3/4 inches. So I'm thinking that that could go on like that. And then I'll put a piece of white on there. So let's just take that. So we're going to take So that's, let's do this, 1 3/4. So if I cut the strip 1 1/2 by 2 3/4. Let's see what we've got then. And by doing that, I'm not going to lose a lot of my really, really fantastically pretty paper there. Right, okay. So let's go and put a little bit of stamping on here. So I already used that one. And I've got one here that says, let it snow. Yeah, it's only nice to snow if you don't have to go anywhere. But I'm going to just use 2 ink colours. I'm not going to, I got some other ink colours out, but I'm just going to use 2. Again, that's wherever possible. I like to just use 1 ink pad, 2 at the most. I'm going to go with my little trick of in the middle at an angle, and I'm wondering if I could use just one of these little ones. Let's do that. And because I've got my greeting in the Lost Lagoon, I'm going to put my snowflakes in the grey, like that. I need to clear myself some space. I'm in a bit of a state here. And then let's just see where we go from here. Maybe I'll pop that bit up on some dimensionals. I've got some tinsy ones here. Where's my tool? Well, can't find that either. So this morning I was working on how to do a newsletter. I used to do them years ago, but I stopped doing them, and I decided that I would have a go at doing them again. And so when I put this video out, or this live out, I'm going to put a link underneath so that you can sign up for my newsletter. And then the idea of that is to give you hints and tips and ideas on various products and So I got my newsletter written. Right. So there's just a little bit of tape here. How am I doing for time? Ooh, it's taking a bit of time to do this. But I think I'm liking it. Right. When I have ribbon on my card, I like to use these dimensionals just to stop it looking bulky by using tape on my, or liquid adhesive. I'm going to need quite a few on here to stop it sagging, but hopefully it will be okay. Right, so okay, and then we'll go be a devil and we'll put some on the top there as well. I'll just pop 4, I think. Well, I think that this actually ended up with a really nice colour combo. I'm quite happy with this. And then I've got my little, where did my little piece of bow go that I had left over from another project? There it is. So I just tied a knot in my ribbon. I'm just going to use a glue dot to hold it in place so that it looks like I've just tied it around and tied it in a knot. And I have the most perfect place now for these. I'm glad you like the colours. Yes, I'm loving them as well. And so let's, where's my, I don't like using these scissors, but I can't see where I left my tool. Right, so in these circles here, I have got the most perfect place to put these gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous faceted gems. I just love those. Ho, ho, ho. Right. Okay, so I can't put it off any longer. Now, can you see what I mean? That now I've got all that weight on that front panel of the card. It's actually staying down. It's not kind of flapping in the breeze like it was before. So we're going to just take this little idea that I had. This is our final piece. And I've got a strip of card here, like that. Okay. I just test that a couple of times. I think it just needs There we go. So get the old trimmer out, and we're just going to trim a piece off there, and then for you it just needs to go up on a scrap of something. How many bigs was this? Okay, I'm going to make that and this wide and see how it looks. So that is, so if I make that, so really I'm just trimming up a piece, some scraps here, and that should give me that little piece. There. I'll just clear out some of my rubbish. One. I'm going to put one in the middle here. And now I just need to decide where to put my little thing. It needs to go so it doesn't upset my greeting. Maybe I will just line it up there. Oh, it's moved. There we go. There. Right, so let's see what it looks like. So this is, let me clear my mess away. And tip this so that you can see it. So when you take it out of the envelope, it'll look like that. Let it snow. And then when somebody opens it, it will go like that. And let's see if I can tip it so that the camera can see how it will go. There. And I'll get my husband to take some pictures and I'll add them to the video as well. Well, I do. Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you very much for your comment. Were you able to follow from the beginning of the live? So there we go. So now I've used all three of those papers in the catalogue, those specialty papers, and I do hope that you have enjoyed my live today, where we've created this card from scratch. And oh, you're just starting to do cards, Janie. Well, I have a lot of videos on my channel, so if you subscribe, and it goes it goes all through different techniques and different folds, and right from sort of simple card making through to more sort of complex cards, and yes, I'm sure you'll find some useful information there. Okay, Karen, well, do go ahead, watch the replay, and if you've got any questions, you can always put them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer them. If you could like my page, my video, I would really appreciate it, and go ahead and share. And oh, Janie, you have watched a few. Well, I hope you found them useful, and there's, as I say, there's over 400 out there that maybe you could pick up on some more. Well, I will be back next week at the same time, and I hope you can all join me. And I've loved the fact that you've joined in today with in the chat. And as I say, I'll see you next week at the same time. Thank you for joining me, and bye bye for now.